welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be reviewing and discussing When No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole.
Do you want to spend the day lying down and dreaming of a way to catch a...
Okay, so for this review I am going to be getting into spoilers, but let me do a short summary about what the book is about. So it follows a young woman, I'm gonna say young woman, and she's in her 30s. I think she's in her early 30s. Her name's Sydney, and she lives in Brooklyn in a very wholesome neighborhood where these neighbors really care about each other and they wouldn't just get up, and leave the neighborhood or sell their property. And so she lives there and she realizes that some creepy stuff is like going down, and that her black neighbors are or her people, basically the people of color neighbors are moving out and white people are moving in, and it's like really suspicious, and she hasn't heard from some of those neighbors, which is really odd. So she's trying to figure this out, and with the help of the neighbor across the street, who is a white man named Theo. So that is basically just the summary of the book. It is a thriller. I believe it's an adult book. Yes, it's definitely an adult book. Just so FYI, this isn't young adult. But yeah, that is just a short summary of what the book is about with no spoilers. But yes, I want to get into spoilers now. Okay, so now we're gonna get into spoilers. Okay, so I absolutely love this book. I've seen mixed reviews about this book. Some people liked it, some people haven't. And as a African-American woman living in America, this book scared me. It really did. I know some people were like, oh, wasn't that, I appreciate what it was, but I wasn't that scared, blah, blah, blah. To me, it felt really real and it really did scare me. So Sydney is African-American. And I think she's 30. I think she mentions that she's 30. And she lives in her mom's house that her mom gave her with her roommate. I think her name's Drea. And then the people across from her moved out a day after they went on this tour of the neighborhood or something. It was one of those history tours or whatever. And this white man moves in named Theo with his quote unquote girlfriend. I think her name's Kim, Kate, I don't know, some white girl's name, I don't know. But basically, I actually really liked him. He's funny and she's pretty funny too. They both actually spy out their windows and watch each other, or not really watch each other, but the neighbors. And I'm I do that all the time. I spy out my window all the time. Who doesn't do that? So I thought that was really realistic. I was yeah, let me get on track so I don't make this review too long, because I want this review to be short. But yeah, to get into spoilers, basically Sydney lives in this very wholesome neighborhood that is filled with people of color, and the majority of them, I believe, are black in Brooklyn. And they just get up and move, and without a notice or anything, and it's so creepy. And some of the stuff that the white people say in this book to her, I'm I've been there. There is a part where Sydney gets into an Uber, and he is saying, the Uber driver is saying the most creepiest things to her. And it was, oh, I can't remember exactly what he said, but it's he said the creepiest backhanded stuff to her. And she realized on her phone was it was glitched or blocked or something, and she couldn't get off the Uber page or the Lyft page. And she realized that wasn't her Uber driver who was supposed to pick her up. And she begged to get out of the car, and she finally got out of the car. It was so scary. I was listening to the audiobook and I was just oh my God. When I tell you my anxiety was trash listening to this, it was trash. I felt for her and I felt I was in her shoes. It was so scary. But to get to the plot, so basically, like I said, the black neighbors are disappearing and moving out when they would never sell their property, and white neighbors are moving in, and the white neighbors who are moving in are very racist. They're very, very racist people, and they say backhanded comments and stuff. So Sydney is trying to uncover what's going on. Also, she hasn't heard from her roommate, and she thinks her roommate's mad at her, which you find out later that her roommate was killed in the apartment. And so I think in one of the rooms, I can't remember which one, has like a secret door that goes downstairs, and then it goes through this closet door. It's like a panic room. And when she goes down there, it's like later on in the book, her roommate is down there dead with the phone in her hand, still typing. It was so sad. It was so scary, and I felt for her. Also, you found out later in the book, you would think that Sydney's mom is like at the hospital. No, you find out later in the book that she actually died, and Sydney buried her in a garden because she still needed the money, and she didn't want to lose her mom's house. And like I'm like, that's a big secret, but I was like, I totally know where you're coming from. So this book is two perspectives. It's Sydney and Theo. So Theo is the white neighbor across the street who, he isn't really dating this chick. I think her name's Kim. He's not really dating her. They like broke up, like she cheated on him, etc. And so they're kind of like separated. He doesn't really come from money, but she does. Her dad's like super rich, and I hate her. Like, you will hate her right off the back. There's a part where they're at a convenience store and she line skipped her, or Sydney did on accident, and Kim threw this big fit, like, oh my god, she was getting so aggressive, you know, the aggressive black woman kind of stereotype. And it was so stupid. I wanted to kick her butt. When I tell you what the white people have said in this book wasn't an exaggeration, because I've had white people literally say this stuff to my face before. When I like showing no attitude, they're like, oh my god, why are you getting so aggressive, huh? Why are you getting so aggressive? Like, I felt it when like I said before, my anxiety was so bad listening to this book. And some people might not like this book, and some people will. I could totally relate to this book, so I absolutely loved it. But back to the story. Basically, they're just trying to figure out what's going on with the neighbors, and they're disappearing one by one and selling the property, which they would never do. And then they can't hear from these neighbors, and they're like, what is going on? Later on, they figure out that I think it was this company that was literally testing on the black neighbors who were basically in these cells in this hospital that was like not used anymore, which is like, huh, that seems really relatable. Sounds like something that's been going on in America for a long time. So I wasn't disappointed with the book. I loved it a lot and I could relate to it, but I thought there would be more like supernatural stuff to it. I don't know why. I knew it was a thriller, but I thought there would be more supernatural stuff to it, but there wasn't. So I was a little disappointed on that fact. I wish there was more supernatural stuff, but it was just like this evil company, just evil people. And also at the end, that this evil company is not just white people, it's people of color too. Rich people of color who benefit off of using people who don't, marginalized people who don't have money, which is happening around the world. So really relatable to what is going on in the world. But the book was amazing and I absolutely loved it. Oh my gosh. I just want to talk about the romance between Theo and Sydney real quick. I thought it was really cute. It was a very slow burn because, you know, he was kind of ignorant, like white boy, just a little bit, but not too ignorant. He wouldn't, when people were saying racist stuff, he wouldn't really like speak up and be like, hey, like that's not right, blah, 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 which he finally did towards the end. And he was a badass and I love him, which is great. But their relationship was a very, very slow burn and I loved it. There is a steamy scene in this book and I was like, hi Theo, like, oh, I thought it was so cute and just so, it was just like awarded so well. I just loved it, but I like the slow burn of their relationship. But overall, this book for me was definitely 5 stars because it kept me on the edge of my seat the whole time. And being an African-American woman in America, I could definitely relate to everything that was going on in that book. Everything. So to me, even though I wish there was more supernatural stuff to it, even though there wasn't any, it still scared me a lot. Like it really did scare me. Like some of the things might not scare other people, like the way that the white people were talking to the black people and saying very backhanded comments where they act like they're not racist but they are, is terrifying. When people act like that, the ignorance and being racist but being secretive about it, and you think you're being so sneaky, it's terrifying, and it's scary that people are like that. And those are real people in America and outside of America who are like that. So to me, very terrifying. The book terrified me. So when I was rating it on Goodreads, I'm like, 5 stars. This book was so good. I loved it on the edge of my seat. And I don't think it was too long, and I don't think it was too short. I didn't really like the ending because it's like, it didn't really leave it on a cliffhanger. It was more like, you know, like, this is going on, we just have to be prepared and we got to figure things out. Like, it's not just happening to us, but it's happening to other people. We got to help them, but one day at a time. And I like that. I like that a lot. But I feel like the only answers I really didn't get into the conclusion of is who, I have a theory, but it's like, who was hacking her phone with the Uber driver? Because he definitely hacked her phone, which I know people can do that, for her to think that was her Uber driver, for her to get in the car, which happens all the time, which is really scary. Not hacking the phone, but getting into cars that you don't think it's like your Uber driver. But there's that part, and then the part with the iPad. She sees like these messages on the iPad, and she thinks Theo is like with the girlfriend, and they have been planning to kill her and all this other bad stuff. And she ends up leaving his house to her house to grab her mom's gun. And this guy who was after her and trying to kill her, who's actually a cop and a boyfriend to the girlfriend, I know it's really confusing, tries to kill her. And it's like, but I want to know who hacked the iPad, and I want to know, or how did they know? I had been watching her for her to check the iPad. Like, doesn't make any sense to me. And the whole, her phone, we never figure out like who did that, which these people have money, so of course they can get people to hack her phone. But like, there's just a few parts where I was like, what? Like, how does that happen? But other than that, I love this book. Overall, I just really love this book, and it was so good. 5 stars all around. So spooky. It was a great thriller, and I don't know if it was her debut novel, but if it was, like, I gotta give it to her. I really do. I liked it a lot. It was really relatable. And overall, I just want to say is that we should read more books by people of color, not just African American people, but like, you know, Asian American, Indian American, etc. Just people of color in general. I think we need to read more books by them because they need to support, because their books are absolutely amazing. I've been reading a lot of books by people of color, which I'm glad I am starting to read, not just like African American authors, but like other people of color authors. And it's been like, it's been so great, and it's been, you know, there are new stories you get to read by people who aren't just white. So I think we all need to start reading more books by people of color, because they're really good books. Okay, I'm gonna go now. I want to make this review short and just say a few little spoilery things, but like I said, love this book, and thank you for watching. Bye.